Well, hey there, all you property preservation maniacs. It's Chuck Taylor with the Taylor Shop coming at you again with another vlog. This week's vlog, we're going to talk about some more basic, beneficial knowledge, but, you know, sometimes, sometimes people miss the basics. This week, we're going to talk about tools. Now, we've talked about tools in the past, tools for success. This week, we're going to talk about actual tools, the tools you should have in your truck when you go out every morning to do property preservation. Now, people are like, yeah, I know what kind of tools I should have. That may be so, but there's a basic arsenal, if you will, or a basic roster of tools you should have when you're going out in the field. And I didn't prepare any notes or anything like that. I'm actually speaking straight off the cuff because I spent a few years in the field, so I know exactly, you know, what you need to be prepared and to make sure that you can be as efficient as possible out in the field. You need to just have the very basics down. If you got the basics down pat, and I don't mean just with equipment, I mean in general, then you got something to build on. You can build off of having basics, and then and then go from there, and sky's the limit, so to speak. So obviously, gotta have a vehicle, need a truck, no shit. That's pretty basic. Although I started doing property preservation in a 2004 Dodge Intrepid, and used to cram a lawnmower in there, and the trunk, and all kinds of stuff in the back seat. And it can be done. I don't recommend it. You should get a truck. Eventually, we did get a truck. But here's the thing: you don't need to necessarily have a trailer. I operated most of the time without a trailer. I had access to one, which I used when I needed to, but I didn't have to carry all my stuff around with me, um, with a trailer. It depends on where you're at. If you're in an area where you have a lot of rural properties or large yards, you might have to carry a mower and stuff like that. We were in Northeast Ohio, so there weren't a lot of large lawns. We carried a couple mowers with us, and stuff like that. So, it just depends. Is a trailer a necessity? Sure, you should have one. But can you get away without it? Absolutely. Depending on where you're located, again. You will need one for trash outs and stuff like that. But as far as just going on, say, initials and stuff, you can pretty well get away with just a truck, a full size pickup truck, not an S10, not some one of those hybrid S71s or whatever you see out there. A full size 1500, 2500 pickup truck. Whether you have a cap on it or not is, that's up to you. But nonetheless, let's talk about tools, what you need to have on this truck, said vehicle. Pretty basic, but nonetheless, obviously, the first thing, which is the most for the most the piece of equipment I see most guys not carrying, is a ladder, and a decent ladder, not a little step ladder, but a ladder. I talked to a lot of guys that said they couldn't get on the roof because they didn't have a ladder. That doesn't make any sense to me. You need to have a ladder. Every client, every servicing company expects you to get on the roof, especially on your initial, and you should on maybe subsequent visits as well, to just make sure there's no issues. But on your initial visit to the property, you have to get on the roof, because how else are you going to be able to tell if the roof is damaged? Yes, you're going to go in the attic, but you should definitely get photos from the roof. Now, I've covered other alternatives to having a ladder in some of my other videos. However, you should, even with that in mind, you should have a ladder. You should have a ladder rack on your truck. That's a given. If you have a van or something else, that's fine. Now, do you need to carry an 80-foot or 100-foot ladder? No. I understand you're going to come across some properties that are maybe a 3 or 4 story. You're not going to have, a 60-foot ladder on your truck. Maybe depending on what area you're in. Again, this all you have to kind of tailor the situation to where you're located. Depending on where you're located, if you're down south in Louisiana and stuff, they don't have a lot of tall properties. They don't have basements, so they have a lot of short properties, or just one and a half story type properties. It just depends on where you're at. Make sure you got the proper tool for your proper area. Here in Northeast Ohio, we have a lot of two-story properties, so you're going to have a ladder that's going to reach up to the roof. But if you have a ladder rack, then that shouldn't be a problem because you should be able to carry, you know, a pretty long, tall ladder, for 40, 50-foot ladder, relatively easily, and that's a major piece of equipment. Your camera is your most important piece of equipment, but having a ladder is we talk to guys all the time. I didn't get roof photos. They didn't get roof photos. Why not? Well, I didn't have a ladder. Why not? The guy doesn't have a ladder. Well, why is he doing this? Why isn't he doing something else? You must have a ladder, people. It's just that simple. There's no excuse not to have one. You should always have one. And if you have a ladder rack, guess what? Then you don't have to worry about it getting in the way of your other equipment, and you'll have room to put other stuff up there. Wood and 2x4s and plywood and all kinds of other stuff. You'll be able to get out of your way. So, and again, I'm just talking the basics here. I'm talking must-haves. You're going to a property. It's initial secure. What do you need on this truck? You need to have a ladder. Okay, now I had to get a little in depth on that because a lot of guys don't have a ladder on the truck. It's that simple. Everybody has a drill. Okay, we need to have a good cordless drill. Get yourself a good cordless drill. Get yourself some batteries. Get it all charged up. Have them all charged up the night before. Get many batteries. You're going to need them. You're going to have a drill. No, that's pretty basic. No crap. You're going to need a major tool is a generator. You're going to need a generator for a couple reasons. One, you're gonna need some power at these properties. Chances are, whether it's to power some lights or a circular saw, which I found out really quick that if you're trying to cut plywood to board windows and you're using one of those cheap Ryobi battery operated circular saws, you'd be lucky if you're able to cut one window before that battery dies. You're going to have a plug-in circular saw and a generator. That's it. I learned that the first time I went and boarded a property and said, oh, yeah, I got my Ryobi circular saw with its little batteries, and I plugged it in, and I think I just was able to board a window before the battery died. You're going to need a generator, a decent one, and you're going to need yourself a plug-in circular saw. This is basic stuff. You're gonna need, winterization equipment. You're gonna need a compressor to blow lines. Decent compressor, not one of those ones you fill with air. An actual compressor that you're gonna have to plug into the generator. So you can blow the lines out. So we got compressor, generator, drill, ladder so far. You keeping up? All right. I know you are. So what else do you need? You're going to need a plethora of tools. Yes, you're going to need a toolbox. You're going to need, hammers and screwdrivers and, that kind of, I'm not going to go over each specific item, but you're going to need some basic tools, wrenches and stuff like that, because you're going to be bolt boarding windows. You're going to need, that's what you're going to need. Obviously winterization season's here. You're going to have winterization fluids. You're going to have toilet covers. You're going to have a lot of that, the basic stuff. You're going to have the stuff with you. It doesn't take up a lot of room. Have yourself a case of winterization fluid, depending on how many orders you're trying to get out. If you can strategically pack a truck and have all this stuff on hand. You're going to have bolts. You're going to have carriage bolts for boarding windows. You're going to have multiple sizes carriage bolts. Have those on hand. You're going to have 2x4s and plywood because, you don't want to you're not allowed to leave a property unsecured. If you have broken window, a lot of depending on your allowables, depending on your client, you can board it. Now you might be able to, some clients want you to just put a bag over it temporarily while you submit a bid. Have yourself some old garbage bags, or some type of plastic, Visqueen, whatever, to cover up, the broken window. Let's see what else you're gonna need. You're gonna need, now you got a lot of allowables to cap lines. You're gonna need line caps, gas line, water line. Go to Home Depot, or go to one of the online suppliers. Get yourself some wire, some wire caps. Oh, there we go, another one. Wire caps you're gonna need. Gas line, water line caps. This is basic stuff. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many guys don't get this stuff right. It's truly unfortunate, but these are basics. Again, there's some more advanced stuff. You could carry a Sawzall with you and stuff like that. Obviously, one you can plug in. The only thing you want battery operated is a drill. I'm gonna tell you right now. The only thing, I don't care what they say. Maybe a paint sprayer if you're doing. I just seen that they have battery operated paint sprayers, which I think is pretty cool. That would be good for dry lock in a basement. Simply because I see guys that take a paintbrush or a roller and then roll a stone basement, and it looks like crap and it's not sealing anything. Get yourself a spray gun. They got really cool battery operated ones now that you'll hit every crevice, every nook and cranny, and you'll be dry locking it in a lot better shape. That's an that's more of like an advanced piece of equipment. You can get away with a roller and a paintbrush, dry lock in a basement, but if you want to do a better job, get better equipment. So so we have some of the basics here. Let's see, what else do we need? Come on, shout them out at me. I can't remember everything. It's been a few years since I've been in the field. Obviously, you're going to have locks. You're going to have padlocks and knob locks of, variant key codes. That's a must. You got to have them. Hasps and all that stuff. That's all, your basic property preservation fare. You're just going to have that stuff. All that, guys, I had to go back. I didn't have a lockbox. Why don't you have a lockbox? That's like leaving the house without shoes on. In the middle of winter, or any day of the week for that matter, of the year. So, you must have locks. You must have a lock box, many of them, because your goal here in property preservation is not to do one order a day. It's to do many orders, change many locks, and have a lot of business. So you're gonna have to spend some money on locks. So yeah, it's that simple. It really is. It sometimes overwhelms me with how simple it is to have the basics down. Yet we see so many guys that miss the mark, that don't have that, or worse off, they have subs that don't have capital. They don't have the equipment, and that's a problem because you just got to have this stuff. Like I said, the biggest your most important tool is a quality camera, or in this case, quality cell phone, because nowadays you're taking pictures with your cell phone, so that's important. But having a proper ladder, carrying it with you every time. Like when I started, like I said, I didn't have a ladder. I eventually got one when I got my truck, but I wasn't going to strap a ladder to a Dodge Intrepid. But that's what happens when you're new. Sometimes you don't have the stuff, but you got to understand what you need to get and what you need to carry every single day. You have to have capital to be functioning in this industry, and you have to have equipment. You need to have tools. You need to have materials. And if you can't maintain materials and maintain your tools and equipment, you're not going to survive. Like I said, you got to have a generator. You got to have a compressor. Quality stuff. You don't buy the cheapest thing. Buy quality. Now, there's a couple on. There's when it comes to buying locks and padlocks, and even a lot of your basic equipment. There's only two suppliers online that I know that you can go to purchase these items and get them to you relatively quickly, and that's MFS Supply and Bargain Locks. I've purchased stuff from both these companies. They're both great companies, and they both provide your property preservation equipment, and some provide even beyond that, some real estate stuff and appliances and whatnot. So you have options, only a couple. Of course, Home Depot has a lot. Will have your plywoods and stuff like that, and your bolts and everything. But this is just your basics. This is what you must have to go out there. Now, like I said, hammers and tools and wrenches and stuff. That's fine. When I don't know how you people got into a property, but when I went to a property, I've seen a lot of photos of guys that looks like they took a gigantic sledgehammer and went at the frickin' lock like an animal, like a gorilla, and beat the hell out of a metal door, and it looks like shit, and you're just like, man, I gotta submit this after photo, and it's ugly. There's a cleaner way to do it. Even if you have to use a hammer to get a lock off. Now, a deadbolt, you got to drill them out. You're not gonna hammer off a deadbolt, not real well, not without causing major damage to a door. But yeah, I'm just starting to think about the locks the doors that I've seen. It's just unbelievable. There's a better way. There's an easier way. It's called picking a lock. It's called locksmith, picking a lock. Get yourself, and one of these videos I'm gonna dig out. I still have it. Dig out my little practice, my practice set, which I just got a couple 2x4s. I crisscrossed them, like this, and then I put a knob lock. I put a padlock on it, and a deadbolt, and I think, or maybe just a knob lock and a padlock. And I would just sit there at night practicing when I was after work. I would sit at my on my couch, and I would just practice picking locks, and I got really good at it because I practiced. And this is before bump keys really were popular and came out. Now you can get a hold of bump keys, which makes it even easier. And again, it's a cleaner way. And if you practice like you should, these are advanced skills. Yeah, you can go at it with a hammer and a drill, but if you can do it just as quickly with a bump key or I didn't do a lot of bump key stuff. I've tried it since then, and it does work. But you can you can learn how to pick a lock. You can buy a lock pick set like for $10 online and just sit and practice, and you'll get into a house a lot cleaner. So there's another tool, lock pick set. I got one in my truck right now. Just in case I ever get locked out of my house or something. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to have a lock pick set and know how to use it. That's the way I used to like to get into properties. The only locks that are very, very difficult to pick are Schlage locks or Schlage. I don't know how they say it. Schlage, the Schlage. Those ones are very difficult. I don't think I ever successfully picked one of those, and they're even harder to drill out. So they're good locks. But they are pickable, and they're just a little more difficult. So that's another piece of equipment you can have if you know how to use it. It's all about being efficient in the field. And like I said, these are some basics. I'm not going into some of you guys might be watching go, oh man, you're missing this and that. I'm talking about the basics. You can go out and do property preservation with these basics as long as you have them. And you're going to need other stuff eventually when you do certain tasks and stuff. But I'm talking about going to a property, initial secure. You got to have your locks. You got to have your ladder. You got to have your winterization stuff. You got to have your drill. You got to have your compressor. You have to have all these basics. And, you can build off of that. It's not that difficult to be prepared, like the Boy Scouts. Remember the Boy Scouts? Be prepared. Well, in property preservation, you have to as well. I didn't have a toolbox on my truck. I didn't have one of those truck boxes or whatever, but I had a couple toolboxes. I had a toolbox with my tools and my wrenches and pliers and stuff like that in there. Then I had another one that had like bolts and nuts and screws, drywall screws. Drywall screws are going to be huge. You're going to really love those. But you're going to have, sometimes you have to have screening and stuff. You might have to do some screening or something, and you have to, wire mesh and stuff like that. It just depends, but you'll have scraps of this and that. Just keep it organized. Keep your truck clean. I think ideally a van is the best vehicle to have. For one, everything's enclosed, which is great for weather and thievery. You have to watch with the truck, man. People will try to steal your stuff. So I think if you can get your hands on a van or use a van, that's ideal. If I were to go back into preservation right now, go back in the field, I would seek out a van, a full-size van, and that's what it'd be. You could fit a mower in there. You could fit all kinds of stuff in there. A full-size mower, I mean, like a walk-behind. You can fit all kinds of stuff in a van, and plus still put your ladder on top. So there's no excuse because you can get the little ladder mounts and stuff. So there's still no excuse not to have. It's not going to, your ladder is not going to take up your interior space, but you'll be safe, secure. Everything will stay, won't freeze. Because go try to untangle a hose in the middle of winter that's been sitting out in your truck, to go drain a hot water tank that's frozen solid. Good luck with that. So keeping stuff at room temperature or truck, heated temperature is better too because you'll be able to be more efficient. You'll be able to work quicker than working with a bunch of ice cold stuff like I did. So yeah, a van is ideal, I think, and I think probably for the biggest reason for security, because I know guys, depending on what neighborhood you went in, they had to have an extra guy on the truck just staying with the truck to watch the gear, to watch the equipment and stuff, because people walk by and they'll snatch off stuff. It's just like that. And don't be afraid to have multiple stuff, because I do remember leaving a drill or a tape measure. Oh, a tape measure. Oh, seriously? See, it's pretty early. Another thing is tape measure. So hopefully you're watching this video to the end. That way you even caught that thing, because the people in the beginning are like, oh, he forgot to say tape measure. No, I didn't. I just didn't get to it yet. But tape measure is critical. That's pretty basic, and you're gonna have to have that as well. But that should be in your toolbox. Who doesn't have a toolbox without a tape measure? And if you do, then there's something wrong with you. I can't help you with that. I've left the tape measure on the back of my truck and taken off to the next property, and then I got to the property and my tape measure fell off the truck. I even lost a drill that way too. I even left the drill in the back of my truck, and somebody walked by at Home Depot and snatched it out of there. So out of clearly what looked to be what would visually was like, this is a contractor's truck, this is what he does for a living, and at the time that's what I did. And yeah, somebody walked by and just snatched the drill out of the back. It's my stupidity for leaving it there, but people are just rude, not thinking like, well, this is what this guy does. This is this is his tool. This is, he needs this to do his job, and you're just gonna take it. Pretty crappy if you ask me, but you didn't, and I told you anyways. So there you go. There's a list of basic stuff. Ladder, drill, tape measure, compressor, and all this stuff. And again, there's a couple online resources you can get these pieces of equipment from. I suggest you check them out. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. You can get a hold of us as always. We haven't changed. www.thetailorsshop.com. Go on there and have a look, see at all our wonderful information about the services we provide. This vlog, as well as most of my vlogs, and all my vlogs for that matter, are just me putting out information for new guys, veteran guys, anybody who's interested in maybe just sitting here and listen to some bald-headed guy talk about property preservation, because this is all I've been doing for the last 14 years, and quite frankly, this is all I know anymore, is property preservation. And so we're just here to help in many ways. This is, quite frankly, just a bunch of topics in conversation we want to get into that nobody else is doing, and we want to let people know that the resources are out there. We want to put as much information as we can to help guys along. Obviously our main point is our data processing services, our updating services, which if you're looking for that, check us out online, thetailorsshop.com. Don't hesitate to give us a call. We have a phone number on our website. You can give us a call and ask us questions. We will gladly answer them. We're available 7 days a week. So anyways, thanks for watching my video. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Contact us at our website. Thumbs up, subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. It doesn't matter to me, but if you like this video, certainly give it a thumbs up. We'd like to see that. Anyways, thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.